Many young scholars in the profoundly gifted community have knowledge about big concepts from an early age, long before they mastered the basics. It can be difficult to watch them stumble over simple mistakes or not perform at expected levels for some of the basics in the very same subjects that they are passionate about an intricate concept. Sometimes it can be confusing why they can have a high level conversation about something, but at the same time can't seem to do the basic skills that we think of as coming before the high level stuff. Is there anything that you can do to help bridge those gaps and ease some of the frequent frustration or confusion? In this segment from our Parent Consulting Circle, a virtual Q&A with parents in our community, Laurel, a member of the Family Services team, shares her thoughts and insights on the situation. Stay tuned after the video for more information on the benefits of the Young Scholars Program and how you can directly access features like these virtual events.
One of the things that we notice about many young scholars is that they are whole to part learners rather than part to whole learners. Most curriculums are developed for part to whole learners, meaning that they introduce small concepts a little bit at a time, and eventually you get to the bigger concept, the bigger understanding of why the larger, more global concept. But you've been introduced to it in these little itty bitty breadcrumbs. And that works and is engaging for most learners. But for profoundly gifted learners, most of them are whole to part. They need to see the whole big picture, the whole abstract concept, the whole why. Why are we doing this? Why do we do it in this way? Why do we learn about it at this point? All of the whys, all of the big stuff. And then they can grapple a little bit with those smaller pieces. Now, I know that this seems counterintuitive because they're like, how can you understand the complexity if you don't understand the simple stuff? I don't know what else to say except really that is the way that most young scholars brains work. We have some neuroscience that shows us that the gifted brain really engages with complexity and basically turns off when material is simple and redundant. They do not have to fight their brains whatsoever and quickly absorb a lot of complexity, challenge, novelty. And their brain just is like, nope, I'm out of here when something appears redundant, simplistic, etc. So this doesn't mean that there's no hacks to this, but we have to think about it maybe a little bit differently. And different strategies work for different young scholars. So is there a way to introduce some sort of novelty to this? So some young scholars learn things like math facts through games. That's how actually the Davidson Institute even got the money to be a foundation to serve this community. Jan Davidson was an educational computer game developer. She developed math blasters and reading blasters to gamify learning. And you really do learn because your brain really is engaging and learning. It's just like, oh, okay, this is a different way of this being presented. Novelty, brain engaged. Some young scholars learn these concepts through more narrative approaches. So if we have a whole story to go around it. So some curriculums are designed in a more narrative sort of situation. I'm thinking right now of Beast Academy, which has graphic novels to introduce math. And you get math fact practice as well as that more complex math. But other young scholars learn these things through just books about math. There's a whole huge kind of body of work of math books for all ages. So I'll send you a few lists around that. Living Math is the organization that's coming to mind that has a lot of book lists divided by like topic and stuff about math. So it's really figuring out how to introduce those different things. And you asked,
So now that we're in the weeds learning about learning, let's slow back down and break this apart further. Sometimes when kids are wired differently than the others in the class, when they aren't getting it in the same way, they can feel behind or like they aren't good enough. Sometimes kids pretend, even to themselves, that they already know things that they don't. But why? Here in this next clip, Laurel explains some of the reasons that kids might get into these spirals and shares her thoughts on how to begin to reframe.
So talking about how you learn, and talking about like, why does, you may feel behind. There's a reason for it. You're not behind. It's the curriculum that's set up differently. And learning about what does learning actually look like in the brain? What does it feel like as a person? How do we know when we're learning? How do we know when we know something? I'll send some resources along that. And also developing metacognition skills. So that's like thinking about how we think. So I will send some metacognition skills, some like learning how the brain learns, resources, and some other things along those lines to help your son. But it's true. Absolutely, students can start thinking that their brain is wrong because they don't feel that the curriculum is not set up for them. That's why we think so many people in the world don't know how to use grammar or think that they're bad at math. Humans are learning machines. We're really designed to learn. It's just that we don't all learn in the same way. And some people got to decide how most schools teach specific subjects. And many of those people were wrong about how anybody learns, let alone outliers like our profoundly gifted students. So it's a really typical experience that you're talking about, and learning about learning and how our brain works can be helpful in that situation.
Thank you for watching. The Davidson Young Scholars Program provides our members with opportunities to connect, engage, and access a range of family services to support them on their profoundly gifted or twice exceptional path. Want to learn more? We host application Q&As for families to learn more about our program, testing requirements, and the application. Visit our website, davidsongifted.org, to find the next available Q&A on upcoming events. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.